This item shop has been burned into a generation's retinas, and the assets are only a fraction of the secret sauce. Turn off 6 small decisions about light and color, and the coziest store in gaming becomes this: a damp stone box, a dungeon with a cash register. This gem achieves its iconic look on the simplest primitives, and the ingenuity involved will inspire you to create. Heh, welcome back, mortals. When I'm not debugging the rendering pipeline of the universe, I dissect your cute attempts to recreate it in your little games. Today, we're peeling back the layers of this iconic capitalism simulator. This is Recettear, 2007, a doujin shop sim, and the warmest room in PC gaming. It's a Truman Show with a cash register, and the unknowing star is you. There is a fake town outside that window, black blinders above the walls, and sunlight you could pick up and move. Every one of those choices is tuned to hold from the one camera angle the game ever gives you, and the illusion works only because they all hold together. But before I take this thing apart, let's look at where it came from. The story is better than you'd think. July 2001, 2 hobbyists, handles Aruto and Muracha, open a website to sell fan games at Comiket. Remember Muracha? That name comes back later. 6 years of fan games later, they make their second fully original thing, a shop sim about a girl paying off a debt. They sell it at Comiket 73, December 31st, 2007, and into the doujin shops at 2,000 yen, plus tax. The credits fit on one hand: Muracha, director, scenario, maps, and pixel art; Thor, all of the programming; one outside character designer, a friend circle for the music. It was a hobby. They never even published their sales numbers. Then, in 2010, 2 forum posters from Virginia and Oregon, with a track record of exactly 0 localizations shipped, licensed it on a budget of, quote, 3 or maybe small 4 figures. They rebuilt the item system with the programmer so that English plurals could exist. 569 items. And somewhere in that rebuild, they gave the heroine a catchphrase the Japanese version never had. It was never in the Japanese script. It is arguably the best line in the game. Now, the internet will tell you the line replaced Yoroshiku, Japanese's famously untranslatable "please take care of me." A cute theory. I went and read both versions' game files instead. When you price an item to sell, the game rolls between 2 lines. In Japanese, both are the same little shrug. How much should I sell this for? English kept one of them honest. The other, they made immortal. Let's do our best today. Capitalism, ho! Tier, let's open the shop. Capitalism, ho! They didn't translate a catchphrase, they installed one. And in one exchange where the English belts the catchphrase, the whole Japanese line is a single syllable, just yes. They even left the receipt in the shipped files. A comment, quote, extra localization line, go. And then a brand new tier line about Adam Smith that exists in no Japanese script. Andrew Dice later wrote that the line was, quote, purely an invention, that it simply felt right. It was not faithful. It was better than faithful. It gave the whole game its English voice. Hold that thought, mortals. It is the thesis of this entire video, wearing a different hat. Which brings us to selling it. And mortals, Steam in 2010 was not your Steam. No greenlight, no self-publishing, it was a walled garden. Japanese doujin games were not just niche on Steam, they were non-existent. So Carpe Fulgur emailed Valve, politely asking to stock an anime shop sim about debt. Valve ignored their email. So they shipped a shareware demo like it was 1993, the whole first week of the game, free. Bloggers passed it around until somebody at Valve finally played it. September 10th, 2010. Recettear becomes the first Japanese doujin game sold on Steam. 26,000 copies in the first month, against a 6-month target of 10,000, 100,000 by New Year, 300,000 by 2013. That crack in the wall is why Japanese indie games are on your storefront at all. Ease followed through it. Entire localization houses were founded on the precedent. Andrew Dice, the man who wrote Capitalism, passed away last September, and Carpe Fulgur closed with him. The rights went home to the developers. His words are still how the whole world outside Japan knows this game. And Easy Game Station? Still at Comiket. There's an HD remaster announced with a one-line slogan, "In 2025, we're starting an item shop again." So hold those numbers in your head, mortals. 5 names, 2,000 yen, 1 folding table. Now let me show you what their shop looks like. Start with the bones. The room is real geometry, walls, a floor, a counter, filmed from a tilted 3/4 angle, like a dollhouse with one wall missing. The characters are not real. They're flat sprites, cardboard cutouts, stood up in the room and quietly rotated to always face you. You never see the edge. The engine sorts that cardboard by depth. Recette stands behind her counter and in front of her rug. A 2-dimensional demon, having convincing opinions about 3-dimensional space. That's the stage. It reads flat and hand-drawn. Now watch me turn it into a place. Decision 1, and it does more work than the other 5 combined. Every surface in the room gets drawn and its brightness multiplied by 2. That's the whole trick. Times 2. Here's the floor. Straight off the texture, a muddy brown, basement flooring. And times 2. Honey. Same texture, same light, twice as bright, and suddenly it's a floor you'd stand on to buy a sword. The single biggest reason recettear pops is a multiply. The warmth you remember is a factor of 2. Decision 2. 1 light. A single cool white lamp, angled down into the front, like a window nobody bothered to model. Without it, every surface is the same flat brightness, stickers on a model. With it, one side of every box catches the light, and the other falls into shadow. The cardboard grows a front and a side. Decision 3 is the opposite of a light. A flat gray glow under everything that fills every shadow so nothing is ever truly black. Take it away, and the corners crush to black like a horror game. Put it back, and the shadows go soft and readable. A demon has to be able to see her own merchandise. 3 decisions down. The room is bright, it's lit, it has corners you can see into, but it's still a diorama in a vacuum, so the last 3 give it air and a floor to stand on. And one of them was never computed at all. Someone built it with their hands. We'll get there. Decision 4 is a pale blue fog, thickening from 20 units out to 500. And I'll be honest with you mortals, you cannot see it. Here it is at 10 times strength, a cool haze swallowing the back of the shop. That's what it does. And here it is at the real value. The room is shallower than the fog. It's technically present. The engine computes it anyway, every surface, every frame, for 19 years. Out of respect. Decision 5 is my favorite because it isn't lighting at all. It's sculpture. Off, flat, dead glass. On, morning, pouring through the shutters. But nothing in there is calculating light. Not one ray. This engine has never heard of the sun. I traced the game's draw calls and found these. 5 invisible sheets of hand-modeled geometry hanging in the air next to the windows. The sunbeams are furniture. The mesh names are 3ds Max primitive defaults, box 02, plane 31, so we even know the tool. An artist sculpted these by hand nearly 20 years ago, one sunbeam at a time. And we know whose hands. The mesh files were exported out of a working directory with a name on it, Maracha, the circle's own director. Map graphics, that was his line in the credits, word for word. The sunbeams have a name on them. He still tables at Comiket. Each sheet fades to transparent at the edges, with a few hand-picked pale yellow vertices in the middle. The engine only ever adds them to the frame. And remember decision 1? Everything gets ×2. That yellow, fully lit, ×2, 1.0035. Somebody nudged a color until the root of the sunbeam barely clipped. That is the coziest light in gaming, a rounding error above white. And the glow on the curtains? They duplicated the curtain mesh and pulled the copy off the fabric. 18 of its vertices still snap to the curtain. Exactly. Decision 6 is the smallest thing in this video. A soft, dark oval, painted on the floor under each character. Without it, everyone hovers a hair above the ground, haunted stickers. With it, they're standing in the room. It's a shadow of nothing, and it's the whole difference between a scene and a place. Now, the debug camera showed me the sunbeams. It showed me everything else too, and mortals, nobody was supposed to see this. Leave the one camera angle the game ever locks you to, and the shop comes apart in your hands. There is no outside. The room is a diorama floating in a black void. That town through the window? A flat plane, standing behind the wall like a theater backdrop, the same few painted houses repeating. And above the walls, black planes, blinders. They exist so you can never notice that the rest of the world doesn't. None of this is corner cutting. This is a team that knew exactly one thing about you. You will only ever look from here. So the camera isn't a window into their world. The camera is the accomplice. They didn't build a world and then light it. They built one shot and composed it like a painting with a frame you're not allowed to step past. Cardboard characters, a cardboard town, hand-cut sunbeams. The whole game is a pop-up book and it's gorgeous. Perhaps you're thinking mortal. Fine, but any engine can multiply and fog. Where is the craft? A confession then. The craft is that half of these decisions are, by the textbook, wrong. The characters are pixel crunchy, hard nearest neighbor sprites, snap to whole pixels so they never drift, standing inside a soft, smoothly lit room. Two art styles that should fight, but they don't. The dialogue boxes blend with a mode meant for something else, and invert the source color blend that, on paper, should tint the wrong shade. And yet, it's charming. That's the secret of the whole look. It is not correct. It's a stack of specific wrong answers that happen to agree with each other. And now, let's rebuild the lie. Empty engine, a room, the camera at that 3/4 angle, and a cardboard me. ×2 brightness. The cool key light, the gray fill, the invisible fog, the hand-built sunbeams, the little shadow. 6 toggles, no art, watch it assemble. Here's ours, next to the real thing. I'll wait. Close enough that it should worry somebody. And to prove it was never the assets. Kill the multiply, and it's a basement again. Kill the sunbeams, kill the shadows, and bring them home. 6 decisions. That is the entire magic trick. So here's the thing I want you to take home, mortals. Recettear looks like this because a small team refused to solve a single problem the expensive way. No global illumination, a multiply, no volumetric light, a sculpture, no open world, one perfect shot. Modern engines will sell you 100 rendering features. Not one of them will hand you taste. The magic was never in the tools. It was in deciding by hand where the light goes. So go compose something. Cheat. Cheat beautifully. So, behold the engine, a real room, 6 quiet lies about light, and a 2-dimensional demon who multiplies brightness by 2. That's what burned this place into your retinas. Simple tricks and no big budget art. And that is the story of the cute, cozy game, where you play as a ruthless, capitalist little girl. If you want to touch the lie yourself, mortals are rebuilding this exact engine in the open, a project called openrecet. The link is below. I approve of their devotion. And if you crave more 2007, this shop shared a Comiket with a certain desktop mascot I have already dissected. Same haul, same winter. It's on your screen now. Heh. Don't forget your offerings down in the comments, and mind the fog on your way out.